Brigham Young University, Idaho's Team 2, representing Platinum Build Group, were commissioned by Concert Homes and NAHB student chapters to complete a full set of working drawings, a cost estimate, and a schedule for a 2,400 square foot single-family residence located at 802 Caspian Drive in Wentzville, Missouri. We wanted to begin with the Platinum Promise, which is to provide the best possible product at the best possible price. I'm Clarissa Placencia. I was the team leader and lead draftsman on this project. Over the course of this project, we referenced the 2015 International Residential Code, as well as the City of Wentzville's amendments to the IRC. We also referenced the Residential Plan Submittal Checklist as found on the City of Wentzville's website. The Residential Plan Submittal Checklist requires documentation of sediment and erosion control measures. We chose to include sheet C-1.1, Pollution Prevention Plan, in order to clearly demonstrate how we plan to prevent pollution and erosion on our job site. We referenced the Environmental Protection Agency's guidelines in order to create this sheet. The Residential Plan Submittal Checklist also requires a fireplace section, as can be found on sheet A-6.1. To complete this fireplace section, we referenced Novus's gas fireplace install manual for NDV models. This gave us the proper clearances surrounding the fireplace, as well as the correct mantle height in relation to mantle depth. The problem description set forth by NAHB student chapters mentions a 7-foot 10-inch basement pour. Given this information and information drawn from tables R404.1.2 and R403.1, we came to the conclusion that our foundation width would be 8 inches, our footing width would be 15 inches, and our footing depth would be 8 inches. In order to create a little bit more space and headroom in the basement, we opted to put our 4-inch concrete slab against the edges of the footings as well as level with the top of the footings. And this creates a seam throughout the basement, which we chose to cover with bentonite waterproofing just to prevent any potential leaks. We also ensured that our foundation walls unrelated to the basement, such as the front porch and the front and right garage foundation walls, met the minimum frost depth of 30 inches.
Hello, my name is Tucker Quinn. I also had the opportunity to work as a draftsman on this project. Moving on to talk a little bit more about the basement. After talking with local building officials, we've determined that we could and that we would leave the basement unfinished and uninsulated. We've done this to provide the lowest initial cost for the client and also to provide the ability to customize and finish that space in any way the client likes. That being said, we've had to go ahead and include some structural walls, which can be seen on sheet S-0. Lastly, when talking about the basement, we've included 4 egress windows that meet all the code requirements for overall size, the well size and depth, the sill height, and additionally to the IRC requirements, Wentzville's amendment says that we need to have number 5 reinforcing bars that extend 24 inches past the corners of the windows, and those can be seen in the details as well. Moving on to the floor framing plans, we've elected to go with 2 10-eye joists at 16 inches on center to meet the needs of the span of this home. Those spans are supported by staggered blocking, which is aligned in the center of those spans. And as per the NAHB project description, we've included 2x10 headers throughout the home universally.
I'm Ellen Birch, and I'm the 3rd draftsman of this project. I will be overviewing our roof framing systems as well as the wall systems. First of all, for our roof framing, we consulted with a truss expert and found 3 different solutions for our overbuilds, our trusses, and our rafters. Speaking of the overbuilds, we have 4 different overbuilds of this residence that we needed to span between 9 feet and 23 feet, 23 feet being on the 2nd floor. We decided that by using 2x4 stick framing, we would be able to support all of the different overbuilds and use diagonal bracing where necessary, especially in the case of the 2nd floor where the span was so large. Also over the 2nd floor, we had to choose a truss that would be able to span the distance of the 37 feet 11 inches. We decided that a modified queen truss would be effective in spanning this distance and providing the needed structural support. These trusses would be spaced at 24 inches on center and would cover the whole part of that 2nd half. Moving on to the rafters. For the rafters, we needed a rafter for our vaulted ceiling over the living room that would be able to hold a live load of 20 PSF and a dead load of 10 PSF. The span thereof is 15 feet 6 inches, and for this building, we decided that the SPF 2x12s would be an effective rafter to use. The grade thereof would be able to, depending on the grade, we'd be able to use any grade of lumber there. For the wall systems, we use a variety of different wall systems in our floor plan, the most common being interior partitions of 2x4s, but we also included 2x6 walls in specific locations, particularly for the purposes of plumbing in the necessary places like bathrooms and kitchens. For the exterior walls, we found that the most impactful element here was to be able to involve the correct amount of insulation. With our residents being in the 4th climate zone, we needed R13 exterior insulation throughout. And we found that by using this, we could use 2x4 framing throughout and be able to still fill it in with the correct insulation. All these materials are recorded in the estimate and will be explained as follows.
Emily Blaylock, I was the project estimator. We as a team, we really wanted to focus on, within the Platinum Promise, the highest quality and transparency with our customers. To help fulfill this, we chose to break the project down into the different phases of construction, including pre-construction, site work, concrete, framing, exterior finishes, interior finishes, and subcontractors. Also, within each of these sections, we broke it down into material and labor costs so the customer is able to see exactly where their money is going. At the bottom of each of these sections is also an additional section for an additional cost if the alternate plan is chosen. We were able to get pricing for this estimate from the NAHB specifications, the 2018 National Construction Estimator, and suppliers within the Wentzville, Missouri, and Rexburg, Idaho area. We were also able to use the modification factor for the St. Charles County so that our pricing reflected the county. A couple additional items I would like to point out within the estimate is that our material and labor cost came to $262,000 with an estimated $46,000 profit and a $25,000 overhead fee. This would come to a rough estimate and sales price for the house of $339,000. Additionally, within the estimate, we were able to include all of the consort home features so that, again, the customer knows exactly what they're getting. Also, on page 41 of the estimate, we opted to include a section for a fire sprinkler system. This cost is not included in the estimate, but we put it in our project because Wentzville's building ordinance R313.2 states that while not every home has to have a fire sprinkler system, it has to be given or offered to the customer at time of the purchasing contract. Lastly, within the estimate, we were able to include the National Construction Estimator crews and man hours so that our estimate was better able to line up within our schedule.
I'm Hiram Southwick, and I was the scheduler on this project. Our schedule starts on the 20th of January 2020. This is to show a 7 to 10 day lead time for obtaining the permit, which we received from the City of Wentzville's website, and that was the suggestion on their website. The construction begins on the 3rd of February and not the 1st because the 1st is a Saturday, and we wanted to start on that Monday. Total construction time is 76 days, ending on the 20th of May 2020. The alternate schedule is extended by 6 additional days, ending on the 26th of May. We added a tabular report, a critical path, and a project manager schedule. The tabular report shows the relationship activities, and the critical path shows which activities are driving the schedule, and if delayed, will delay the schedule. The project manager report is the overall schedule. We also added a potential list of subcontractors in our schedule section. We did this to show the client which subcontractors we have done research on and would like to work with. We're also open to suggestions. We also wanted to stress on accountability in our schedule. A schedule can be given at any time length, but accountability is what drives it the most. If subcontractors are behind or late, they will delay the schedule and they should be held liable to the schedule. In conclusion, we wanted to acknowledge these groups and these professors at our university. They really helped us get us on track and take us to the course we needed to go. We also, in conclusion, wanted you to consider the word platinum and what it would mean to you. We are now open for questions.
Awesome job, guys. I think that your plan set was fantastic. I think you guys included a bunch of details, your window and door header heights on your elevations. Everything that you guys would need to be able to hand over to somebody to build the house. So I think that you guys' plan set was fantastic, in all of your details. I think I have a hard question for you. In regards to, it looks like you guys dropped your garage and did concrete stairs up to the first floor. One, what was your thought process behind going concrete instead of wood? Two, did you guys account for the 3 feet, almost 4 feet you're gonna lose in your garage for cars? And then three, how you guys think you're gonna finish that space with concrete and drywall when you go to finish your garage?
So I was the one who chose to add the concrete steps, and I just figured it might be easiest to do a precast concrete step right there. Just from personal experience, I've seen that a lot in garages. And then, can you remind me, your second question was?
Did you guys account for the 4 feet of space you're gonna lose?
Yes, so I believe the garage was around, like, roughly 20 feet? Okay, well, I just figured that most garages have plenty of storage space at the front of it, and I figured that those steps could line up with where your storage is.
Okay.
And then, what was your third question again?
How you guys are gonna finish with concrete up against your drywall when you go in and finish your garage?
I don't have an answer to that right now, but I could look into that afterwards.
No
and get
worries.
back to you.
I think you guys did an awesome job with presenting. You guys added square footages to your floor plans. I think you guys did a great job as far as your plan set and estimate and schedule.
Thank you.
Great job.
I'm going to take that to the next level. Beyond just a great job, your professionalism from beginning to the end, how you present yourself, the attention to detail is just extraordinary. Your presentation, the very first thing from your handshakes, they were firm. My first impression of you was absolutely, this is a very strong team. That's how you came across even on your presentation, and I want to thank you for that, because that is amazing, and that's how you, I don't want to say sell yourself, but that's how you really came off. I was really proud of you. Your drawings, absolutely excellent. Your attention to detail. To date, I've done this for a couple years now. Your code summary and how you put it in the estimate, in the drawings, even the schedule, how you investigated that and carried that throughout the whole entire through the whole entire set and throughout the whole entire presentation was amazing. You caught details about that optional sprinkler. I was amazed as far as it doesn't, they don't require, but you have to offer it at the owner's expense. Amazing attention to detail. Sorry. I loved the additional add-ons, the pollution prevention plan, the fireplace section, your description of the stick frame basically the overframing. Very few students even people in the field would not know how to do that, and that is how you do it. Your res check, again, taking it to the next level. So I just really want to thank you, because really what teams like you make the judging an absolute joy. So thank you.
Okay, I want to pick on Clarissa, Ellen, and Tucker. Great plans. I could easily build this house. Just phenomenal. Be very careful. You are in control as the designer. Don't let the carpenter on the job site make a decision on dimensions. So dimension, so everything's clearer and more concise, because you left some dimensions out, which is allowing the carpenter to make his decision, and he'll probably make the wrong one from what your original design is. So be very careful that you keep on going where you're totally in control of this plan. But oh my gosh, great plans. Watch your cross hatching. Like I'm looking at the floor plan with the garage. I don't care if you show concrete on that. Get rid of it. I know it's concrete, I see the slope, I see the notes on it. Don't distract from your beautiful artwork by putting some hash tones in it like that. It just gets confusing and mucks up a beautiful set of working documents. Your basement eye joist, you picked out what they call a 210 series TGI. Okay, looking at the span that you've got, if I use L over 480, the floor joist can only span 19'3", and we're at 22 feet. If I use L over 360, it works. But eye joists are designed on an L over 480 design for foiler work. Dimensional lumber is designed at L over 360. What's gonna happen is when you push a joist to that maximum, you put the bridging in, the blocking in like you should, because it's gonna move. But let's just get some congregate seating out in the middle of that great room, or let's take where that island is. Can that floor joist support that island load alone? It can't. It's only designed for a 50-pound total load, live and dead. We just put an island on it. Now let's have a party, get people walking around it. Are we way exceeding our live load on that area? Absolutely. So think about that when you're in those areas where you got a concentrated load. You took a joist and you pushed it to its actual maximum limit on length, but it's also at maximum limit on deflection. You're at 5/8 deflection limits on L over 560, or the 560 series, I have a 3/8 deflection. Yours, I had over 5/8 deflection at max load conditions. So can somebody live with that? Think about 5/8. Let's put a basement down there and put walls and a door. The floor settles because I've got big furniture up there. Can I open the basement door anymore? No. So just think about it. Yeah, it's cost effective and its span chart shows it can work, but be very careful. The series on L over 480 did not work. It failed. Over at 360, it did work, but you are so borderline on it. Be very careful on that. And that's where the estimator can check what the designer does. And we say that all the time on our field is we find those errors and we let the designer get notified. Your 2x basement bearing wall, you're carrying 2 floors. What's code on 2-floor load capacity for a basement bearing wall? It's 2x6. So you label it 2x4, be very careful on that. And that's where the estimator again should have found that item and just let the designer know, oh, we gotta change this to a 2x6. So otherwise those plans are awesome, great job.
Very good job, guys. You can definitely tell you did your research. Like I said, the fire sprinklers, we have to offer it on every house. We've never put one in, but very, very good job. Attention to detail on the plans. There were a lot of things that were not caught by everybody, so I commend you on that. Let's see. A couple things I did notice, like Miles, I did notice the garage steps, so be careful with that basement floor, or that garage floor. 3 or more rise in the garage, and then we're requiring a landing, so you're also adding 4x4 structure plus your stairs, which you're not able to be able to do concrete steps anymore. So just be careful on that. Bring that garage floor up. Only have 2 or 3 or 2 rise or so into the garage, and that should take care of that. The structure around the stairwell on the 2nd floor, it looked like on the 4th bedroom detail, it accounted for double floor joists, but on the original one, it did not. And then I didn't see anything cross-member wise hangered in to carry that stairwell, so just be careful on that. I didn't see the optional seat. In some of the renderings, it looked like it was a 5-foot shower and then a seat, so just double check that. The footing detail, just a couple things I noticed on the footing detail. Increase that footing width a little bit, closer to 20 inches. And then I didn't notice a keyway or anything tying the footing to the wall. It's usually either vertical rebar or a keyway, a dip in the footing to prevent movement on that. And then the floor would sit on top of the footing. Okay. Let's see. Estimate. Question in the estimate. Crane rental for trusses. I noticed $2,700. Can you explain that?
One more time on the question.
The crane rental, was that for setting trusses?
That is for setting trusses, yes.
Okay, $2,700. The approximate man hours?
That was within the National Construction Estimator. It just gave me a lump sum value. I couldn't find a specific hours type of cost for that.
Okay.
But I wanted to make sure it was at least included within the estimate.
No, I appreciate you catching it. Like I said, I was just kind of glancing through things that kind of jumped out. A typical crew, 3-4 man crew, could probably set a roof in 3 to 5 hours, so that would significantly reduce that cost. But like I said, I appreciate you catching, including that in there. And then scheduling, like I said, great job on the schedule. There were just a couple things that I didn't see HVAC rough, and there were a couple little things that could have been flipped around here or there, but ultimately, like I said, a very good job.